What's up, everyone? Daniel Armstrong coming at you again with another video from the Atechracingperformance shop. On today's video, I got a set of forks from a 2016 KTM SX65. We're going to be replacing, obviously, all the internals. We're going to be replacing the springs. We're going to be going up to a heavier weight oil while we flush and clean everything out. If you're new to the channel, please like, subscribe, and leave me a comment. Let me know what you guys want to see. All right, you guys get in the video. I'm going to get into these forks, all right? First thing that's jumping out to me is this little nick right here. That's definitely gonna be a problem if we leave it. What I plan to do is take some 800 and 1000 grit sandpaper and wet sand this. We're gonna do that later in the video. To start, go ahead and back your adjuster screw all the way out. After that, we're gonna get this cap broken loose. All right, now we've got this opened up. We're gonna slide this guy down. Next, what we're gonna wanna do is undo our locking nut from our cap. Once you do that, we can just unscrew all this. Once you got those off, you can just put them aside. And another thing to note, you got this little plastic piece right here. You got the holes that go down into the fork, and also inside of the dampening rod, you have this adjustment rod as well. Don't forget that guy. Next, let's get these seals off so we can get this all taken apart and cleaned up. I use a little flathead screwdriver to get the wiper to come off, and then I use it to remove the circlip. After that, I just separate the seals and the bushings from the fork housing. Now we got it all separated, we can take this apart and start cleaning it. Now that I got the fork tube off, this is what we're left with. The stanchion, which has the spring and the oil and all the internals. As a habit, I like to lay out the seals and the bushings just in line so I know how they go back together. In order to get this stanchion opened up, I'm gonna need a couple special tools. One that I just got in is this one from Motion Pro. Heavy duty pin spanner. This one's actually pretty cool. It's the first time I've actually used it too. Here's my setup to get this apart. Got a Park Tool suspension vise. I got another tool from Race Tech. And then I got that Motion Pro spanner wrench. And the little trick is heat. Not too much, but it does help to break the Loctite loose, because these guys are definitely in there. Once you got that taken off, this is what you're left with. And check out this oil. Yeah, it was definitely due for a service. Most of the time, suspension fluid's almost clear. Maybe has like a slight fog to it, but it's definitely not black. This is that Race Tech tool I was using. And here's the Motion Pro spanner as well. Here's all the internals. And here's the stanchion, here's the fork. Already got these cleaned out. As you can see, there's no debris. Nice and shiny, you don't see any scoring in there, so these are good to go. And these didn't have a hole in the bottom, so I just sat and flushed these the best I could. I'm gonna be using an OEM fork seal rebuild kit, along with these aftermarket heavy duty springs. This kit comes with an extra slide bushing for the dampening rod. It's a tiny little guy, but we're gonna go ahead and get that pulled out too. I'm gonna be using a slide pull hammer to get this guy out. This is what that tool looks like. I've already kind of started pulling it out. All right, here it is. A little bit of heat goes a long way with these types of jobs, especially anything interference fit. Here's the new one. I'm gonna go ahead and get this guy tapped in. Once it's all flush, move forward, start reassembling our fork. I got my fresh fork oil. This stuff is gonna be from Maxima. And again, we're doing some 10 weight because this is gonna be on a pit bike for adults. And I know these guys are gonna be sending it. Once I got all my oil installed the fork, I go ahead and install the fork spring along with the plastic preload spacer. Then I come with the dampening rod assembly and get this installed. That's all assembled now. Now let's go back to that nick that we found earlier in the video. Definitely need to address this. What I'm gonna do is start with some 800 grit sandpaper. I'm gonna wet sand this. And I'm gonna go in almost every direction. I'm not gonna put too much pressure on it, so I'm gonna let the sandpaper do the work. But what I'm trying to do is just knock down any edges that this has. Once I'm done with the 800 grit, I'm gonna move over to the 1000, do the same thing. Just gonna wet sand it, try to knock down the rough edges on this. It's not perfect, but it's a lot better than what it was. The main thing is I just didn't want it snagging and ripping the seal. Next, I got my seals and my bushings installed. It's time to get the fork tube and get this all put back together. Seals and bushings are installed. Let's go and get back up to the top. Here's that little plastic piece. Holes are gonna face down. We got the dampening rod inside. It's already cleaned out as well. We got our cap put on. We got our locking nut. We're gonna run this guy all the way down until it just seats. And after that, we're gonna tighten up the locking nut. Once we're all torqued up, we can go ahead and finish installing our fork tube. Get our cap tightened up. Once we have that done, we can go ahead and set our clickers. This one doesn't actually click, but what we're gonna do is go all the way in, and then we're gonna run it out 2 full turns. At least that's what the factory manual is calling for. And that's it. This fork's all done, ready to go. You can move on to the second fork the exact same way. Until next time, stay safe out there, everyone. I appreciate you all.